Welcome back guys, this is Benito and this is my fourth tutorial in my how-to series. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to display Greek notation and symbols in your MATLAB plots. So let's switch over to MATLAB and see how it's done. So here we have a template again, and I'll make this code available on my website. I'll put a link in the description below as well. So we'll start by defining a simple graph, and we'll say we have theta on the x-axis, which starts from 0 in steps of 0.01 all the way up to 10. And we'll define a new variable called alpha, and we'll just call it 3, which is a constant. And now we'll define our equation y equals sine theta plus alpha. So this is our equation, and let's just plot this using the plot function. And we'll say theta on the x-axis and y on the y-axis, and we will add a grid as well. So let's run this by pressing F5, or function F5 if you're on a Mac, and you can see we have a sine graph. Now we want to add a title that shows the equation using the Greek notation as well. So to do this, what we can do is use a function called title, and then in quotation marks we can say graph of y equals sine, and to use the Greek symbol or Greek letter, we have to use a backward slash and simply type in theta plus backward slash again and alpha. So if we run this now, you can see we have a graph of y equals sine theta plus alpha. So it's using the Greek letters now. So that's how you add Greek letters in your plots. So to find a list of all the letters and symbols that you can use in a plot, you can visit the MATLAB website just simply by typing in MATLAB Greek letters or notations in Google search, and the first link is going to be the MATLAB website. So you can see on the website there is a list of all the symbols, Greek letters and notations that you can use in your plot. So now let's see how we can add a superscript or a subscript. So we'll just simply copy this line and just comment it out for now, and we'll paste it here, and we'll say, let's say I want to say add a subscript to alpha saying it's a constant. So to add a subscript, all you have to do is just simply add an underscore, and then using curly brackets, inside the curly brackets you just have to say what you'd like to make the subscript as. So we have, I just want to say this alpha is a constant, and I'll just say const, and if you run this now you can see that we have a subscript just under alpha, just to indicate that it's a constant value. Now let's see how we can, let's say if alpha was squared and we want to use the superscript. So to use the superscript you just have to use the up arrow symbol and use the curly brackets again, and then say, let's say squared, or 2 for squared. And you can see that we have a superscript. So this is how we use a subscript and a superscript. So underscore for subscript with curly brackets, and the up arrow symbol for superscript. So that's quite straightforward. Now let's have a look at how we can change the font and size using the list fonts. So you can see at the moment we have the standard font, but I'd like to change the size and use a different font that I quite like. So how can we do this? So once again, we'll just comment this out and then paste it here. And to change the font, you can find a list of all the fonts by simply typing into your command window list fonts, and this will show all the fonts that you can use in MATLAB. So I like a font called DIN condensed or DIN alternate, and I'll just try and use this to see how it looks. So to add a font name, or to change the font, you have to make sure that you're typing this first before the actual content of the title. So we'll say font name, and in curly brackets again we have to define what the font name is. So we have DIN condensed. This is the font that we need. And to change the font size we can use a backward slash again and then type in font size, and curly brackets you can just define, let's say I want it to be size 20. Now if we run this you can see we have the new font and the new size. So this is looking better now, I can read it better, and I like the font. So so you can use any of the fonts that's in the list by simply typing list fonts into the command window. Now let's see how we can add a arrow to a particular point on the graph. So let's say I want to add an arrow to a particular point on the graph and say, okay, this is where the gradient changes, or this is where the minimum is, and so on. So what we can do is use another function. So we'll start by defining a variable called arrow, and we'll just to make the code neater, we'll just define the string that we want to use here. So if you want to add an arrow, then you can use a backward slash and then say left arrow for an arrow that's pointing to the left, and then we'll say I like this point for now. And we now can use a function called text, and what this function needs is 3 inputs. The first input is the theta point, so let's say 1, and the y point, and we'll say 1. So this 1 is the index number. So what that means is if you click on theta in the variables, you can see that the numbers on the top is the index number, or the numbers on the side. So because this is a row vector, the index number is defined using the column number, basically. So if I say I want to access this particular number, then you say theta 1, that will give you that particular value. So let me just demonstrate that to you. So if I say theta 1, then the answer is 0, which is this value here. If I say theta 2, then you can see we have the second value, which is at index number 2. So what this is doing is it's picking out the first value of theta and the first value of y and adding our string, which is defined as arrow, to that particular point. So if we click run now, you can see we've added the arrow to that particular point. So if you want to plot in a particular point, then you have to find the index number and feed that into the function. Now there must be a better way, and there is a better way, and that is by using the mouse. So using the mouse, you can just click on a particular point and add whatever text you like to add. So we have a very nice function called gtext, and you can just type in whatever you like. So we'll just say first click point, and we'll just add a, let's say, right arrow for a change. And if we run this now, you'll get a cursor point where you can click, and if you click somewhere, then you can see we have a right arrow and we have the first click point. Okay, so let's say I want to add a bullet point as well, so we'll just simply type in bullet and F5, and if I click somewhere now, you can see this is the point where I clicked. So we added a bullet at the point where we clicked as well. Now, finally, we have special symbols. So I'll just use the gtext again. So you can add as many gtext functions as you like. So we'll add a second one, and let's say you want to use the heart symbol for some reason. So heart suit, you can simply type in heart suit. And again, all these names for different symbols can be found on the MATLAB website. And let's say I want to add another one with the integral sign. So that's /int, very simple. And let's run it again, and we get our first input, and I'll just click here for example. So this is my first point, and I'll add my heart here. I like that point. And I'll add an integral point here. So you can see you can annotate your graph or your plot with as many strings and characters and symbols as you like in different locations, and you can save it by simply clicking on this icon here and clicking on save icon here, or you just copy it to your clipboard and share it with your friends or colleagues, for example. So that's the end of this tutorial, guys. I hope you've learned something new. If you have any request or feedback, then please let me know through the comments. If you find my videos helpful, then please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.